And you will know my name is the Lord when I lay my vengeance upon you.
Mearns FM would like to issue the following warning. Both Scott and Andy are amateur and immature. So please take this into consideration over the next 2 hours. Thank you and good luck.
Hi and welcome to the Smell of the North Show. I'm Scott.
I'm Andy.
And this week our theme is the movies. Sit back and enjoy 2 hours of utter nonsense and jam-packed with great music. Ghost Rider, the pattern is full. I love the movies, Andy.
Yeah, me too. You go to the cinema a lot, Scott?
Well, I'll be honest, I stopped going a wee while ago. Last time I went, I took my 6-month-old and never really enjoyed it, so...
What did you take her to see?
Silence of the Lambs.
You took a 6-month-old to see Silence of the Lambs?
Yeah, it was the midnight showing. She was really tired and it was difficult keeping her quiet.
Was she noisy?
Well, yeah, and she didn't respond much when I started singing nursery rhymes. She just kept crying. And you know what, though, Andy? The most annoying thing is that people around us were giving me such dirty looks. You know, I think they can just be so intolerant.
Well, you know, please email us on studio@mearnsfm.org.uk if you've ever taken a 6-month-old into see a horror movie.
That was Eminem, Lose Yourself, which was from the great film 8 Mile. There was actually a local version of that.
Was there?
Yeah, I don't know if you
I
heard
never saw
that.
it.
It was released just to cinemas in the Mearns.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All those cinemas in the Mearns.
Yeah, if you want to hear it, I've got the trailer right here. Do you want to hear it?
I'd love to hear it, Scott.
Okay, let's give this a go.
He was a young Doric rapper, facing the battle of his life.
Lose your dues, you're just gonna lose.
One man that nobody understands. His fight to escape the ghetto of Fetteresso.
I've come to the act and I'm looking for a fact.
Echtmile at a cinema near you. Now.
And it did very well locally.
Echtmile, I never saw that. I hope they do an Echtmile 2. That sounds great.
I think it won an Academy Award.
Really?
No,
really?
it did.
A Mackie Academy Award? I mean, what's all that about?
Okay, so as you know, we're a generous bunch at Mearns FM.
Yep.
We've got a competition this week,
Wow.
movie-based.
Awesome.
Yeah. Andy and I are going to reenact a scene from a popular movie, but in Doric. And you have to email the studio and tell us what the film is. And if you get it right, you could win the chance to join us in the studio and watch the magic happen.
That's an amazing first prize.
It is. Terms and conditions do apply.
If they do contact us and get it completely wrong, though, unfortunately, they do have to have a session with Ken Venters on his show. So.
Yeah, I suppose that
it's a big risk.
Flog the Dead Horse. No, Beat the Drum.
That's the one. Yeah, it's all about Run Rig apparently.
Right. So we're going to do this scene now. Remember, and it's in Doric. I've got some background music. Hold on a second.
Just for a slight clue.
Yeah, wee clue there. Ready, Andy?
Let's try this.
If you can fit the car, a deep fried Mars bar and muckles.
They've definitely got a deep fried Mars bar.
No man, they've not got a chippy. They wouldn't can fit deep fried whiz.
They call it then.
They call it a Mars bar.
Mars bar fit, they call it double decker.
Well, a double decker's a double decker, but they call it Thon double decker.
Thon double decker. Fit if they call it curly whirly.
I didn't can. I didn't have enough money for a curly whirly.
Okay, so that was terrible. So email us on studio@mearnsfm.org.uk and you could be our special guest in the studio.
It's Scott and Andy between 105 and 107. Unfortunately, that's not a 2-minute time slot.
Because of the Easter holidays, Danny Glover, the cover lover,
yep.
was unable to write to me this week, Andy.
You're joking?
No. It turns out he's on holiday.
Right, okay.
And Danny Glover, the cover lover and plover shover, is in Anstruther with his mother and younger brother. But luckily...
You got through that whole sentence. I would have managed that.
Yeah. But luckily, I got another letter. And this is from another friend of mine, Omad Jalili, the famous Iranian comedian.
Wow, you're friends with him.
I know. And Omad writes to me, Dear Scott and Andy, love the show. I like covers too, and as long as you don't object, I would like to suggest one. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have an aversion to a Persian who likes an alternative version, please can you play Pretty Woman by Van Halen?
On 105 to 107, you're listening to Scott and Andy on Mearns FM. Stick with it, they can only get better.
Mearns Learns.
Well, a very interesting fact that I learned when doing some research for my exams was that, now believe this or not, no homing pigeon has ever returned to Brecon.
Amazing. But
Yep.
not really that far-fetched, it has to be said.
Yes, that's one that may not come as too much of a surprise. Well, Scott, it's Easter Sunday, which is a very important day in the calendar, as you know.
Indeed it is, yeah.
And you know the significance of today, right? And how important it is to many millions of people around the world.
Oh, of course I do, Andy. It's to commemorate when the baby Jesus came from outer space and gave us a bank holiday and chocolate eggs from a rabbit.
Absolutely. Now, here's one I bought you. Here's one I bought you earlier, mate.
Oh, thanks, Andy. And here's what I got for you. My rabbit lays these little chocolate eggs, and here's some this morning that I got for you.
Awesome. Well, tell you what, whilst we stuff our faces with some yummy egg-shaped chocolatiness, someone has appeared in the studio, Scott.
I know, she's just appeared in a puff of smoke. It's
Right
your
behind
favourite mystic Faye Muckles. It's Nora Chuckles.
It's Nora Chuckles here, and this week I got one of those email things for a girl I'm gonna call Lynn from just up the road in Newton Hill. She has a works dance tonight and has an eye on a colleague of hers and wants to make an impression like. She wants to ken if she should wear a little black number or something more colourful. Well Lynn, this was one of the clearest readings I've had for a long time. You'll never see you looking as lovely as you will tonight, and you'll never see you shine so bright. You'll never see so many men ask if you want to dance, looking for a little romance, giving half a chance. And you'll never have seen that dress you're wearing or the highlights in your hair that catch your eyes. He's been blind. You'll be a lady in red dancing with him cheek to cheek. Nobody there, just you and him, and it's where you want to be. You'll hardly ken the beauty by his side, and you'll never forget the way you look tonight. So there you go, Lynn, with a nice wee red number, and that'll make all the difference, and you'll get your man no problem. I just ken you're gonna look absolutely stunning, Queen, and let me ken how you get on. Until next time, it's Nora.
That's incredible, Andy.
She's gone.
She's gone, just puff of smoke like that.
I love Mearns FM because that's where I get to hear Scott. Andy? Not so much.
Mearns Learns.
Mearns Learns, Andy, what else can you tell us about this wonderful area you live in?
Well, according to the Scottish census of 1841, Drumlithie was populated by one man and a small flock of ewes.
And yet somehow the population grew quite quickly, Andy.
You're absolutely right, Scott, but probably best to leave that one there.
How does that happen?
No idea.
So we've got Andy's song of shame now.
Great.
Regular listener will know that Andy has an iPod with some of the world's most horrendous collection of music on it, and so I raked through it. Oh, it is, Andy, really. I raked through it looking for something as embarrassing I could. And this one, actually, a lot of people must have this song because it was number one for about 14 years.
15 weeks, I think. 15 weeks, I think it
15
was. So a
years, it
lot of
felt
people
like.
do have this song, Scott.
Right,
I'm not
okay.
the only one.
Okay, but do you practice archery to it?
Every now and again.
Do you want me to blow in your ear while it's on, Andy?
Not again, no.
No. Okay, this is Bryan Adams. Everything I do it for you. What you got for us this week?
Well, Scott, I thought this week I'd wing it a bit and get you to choose one randomly from this huge sack of letters that came into the Mearns FM mailroom.
Big sack.
Yep, over the past 7 days. All addressed to Aunt Andy, that's me.
So that sounds like a good idea. It's good to see this feature has really taken off with all
Yep.
that mail. So let me have a rummage in your big sack, and I'll pick one. Hold on a second. This one reads, Dear Aunt Andy, I have several serious issues going on in my life right now, but I keep seeking advice from people who are dangerously underqualified to give it. What should I do?
It might be best to choose another one for me, Scott.
Okay, hold on a second. Does that just sound like one bit of paper?
I love Mearns FM because that's where I get to hear Andy. Scott. He just annoys me.
But anyway, as you know, Mearns FM has a TV station that broadcasts throughout the week. Mearns TV, they call it, rather imaginatively. What's on Mearns TV tonight, Andy?
Well, because it's Easter Sunday, they have some religious programming. At 7 p.m, it's Thongs of Praise.
You mean Songs of Praise?
Nope, Thongs. I've set it to record.
Oh, good story.
Yeah.
And at 8 p.m, it's the classic film, The Greatest Story Ever Told.
Ah, the one about the story of Jesus.
Nope, the one about how Homeless John met Nora Chuckles.
Oh, okay. Speaking of Homeless John, it was great having him here in the studio.
It certainly was. And if you missed it, you can listen to all our previous shows by going on the Mearns FM website and following the Listen Again links. And I think our show has currently got the most downloads.
Our second show has, I think. Yeah,
and that's
down to you and me, Scott. I think.
I think that's Ofcom checking the files for appropriate.
I know. Of course, there is no Ready Steady Cookney tonight, as the grand final or finale, as Homeless John told us. It was last week. What was the winning dish, Scott?
Cheese on toast.
Sounds delicious. Well, coming up next week and taking the Ready Steady Cookney slot in the scheduling is I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Brecon.
Can't wait for that. 12 Scottish celebrities trying to survive 3 weeks in a truly hostile, wild and inhospitable environment.
I can't wait.
Gail Porter's getting my vote.
Well, I'm getting right behind John Barrowman.
As always, Andy.
You're listening to Scott and Andy on Mearns FM. I want them back in one piece when you're finished with them. Thank you.
He has actually said, any chance of hearing B.O.B. I've Got the Music in Me from Pitch Perfect? Scott, is there any chance of that?
No chance.
No chance whatsoever.
Thanks for emailing in.
We would appreciate the email, Gavin. So what have we got next, Scott?
It's by popular demand, your son's favourite bit of the show. This week's Aberlour tune.
We've got a letter in from Archie, who wanted to tell us about his son. In the summer of 1973, Archie and his wife were delighted to become the proud parents of a boy, and they called him Alexander, after a furniture shop in Rosemount where they had once bought a beanbag. Alex was a lively young child, and from an early age it was clear he loved to perform for an audience. Archie remembers the time when Alex was aged just 7 and he reenacted the final scene from Jaws whilst at the open-air pool in Stonehaven. If he hadn't thrown half a pound of liver into the pool for dramatic effect, he probably would have got a better reception from the other swimmers. Alex declared from that point on that his ambition was to be a famous movie star, and his proud dad Archie vowed to do everything to help him. When aged 18, Alex applied for a job on Grampian TV. They were looking for a continuity announcer to bridge the gaps between quality programmes like The White Heather Club and The Sullivans. The vacancy had arisen due to the sudden resignation of Stuttering Jim, the region's favourite alcoholic. The audition involved pretending to look happy, introducing Top Club, whilst simultaneously talking and wearing a beige suit. It wasn't easy, the presenters just made it look that way. The way people spoke in hushed, reverent tones about the great Jimmy Spanky gave Alex some insight into the role he was attempting to take on. Alex was overjoyed to find out he had the job. Archie was bristling with pride the day his son told him he was to be the youngest ever presenter on Grampian TV. The day of Alex's first broadcast soon arrived. It was a late night slot and he had to do the tricky segue between the end of the news at 10 and the beginning of Living and Growing. Alex had bought a herringbone jacket and bright yellow tie especially for the occasion. He watched as the clock counted down the last 20 seconds to his link. But as he sat in the chair, he heard a loud rip. It was at that moment Alex regretted buying his suit so cheaply. The trousers had split right up his inside legs, and bits of him that never normally saw daylight were now clearly on show to viewers across Grampian. He tried to cover himself up, but it just made him look like he was interfering with himself. The next day's P&J relived his shame as they recounted how viewers of Living and Growing got an anatomy lesson they would never forget. Alex could never live down the shame. He never worked again and now lives in the shed at his parents' house, which he never leaves. He has a mock-up of the old Grampian studio built to there and practices continuity links in there day and night whilst wearing unrippable rubber trousers. His dad Archie would like us to play a song that will let Alex know that he still loves him and that one day this will all be forgotten. The song is about a father's love for his son. Alex, this is for you.
My ting-a-ling, I want you to play with my ting-a-ling. My ting-a-ling, I want you to play with my ting-a-ling.
You know, interfering is a word that's not used often enough.
It's got to be on air more often, I think.
It certainly does.
These are getting far too emotional for me, Andy. I mean, I'm just tearing up.
I know. Do you know, living and growing, I remember that. You know, and this is true. I was shown that series 3 times,
and you still have no idea what to do.
Primary 6, Primary 7, then we got it again in first year at Mackey Academy. They tried to drill into me.
And if you're married to Andy, please email the studio at mearnsfm.org and tell us exactly how much he did or didn't learn. So the reason that we're doing the sort of movies theme was that I was reading in the internet. I get it delivered weekly. I was reading this past week that Montrose is getting closer to actually having a cinema built in the town.
That's great news for the good people of Montrose.
I know. The group behind the idea have already listed a number of films that they hope to be showing in the near future.
Exciting times ahead then, and what are they, Scott?
Well, first up is Malcolm-esque, about a man's struggle for equality, fighting for the rights of the much beleaguered river people of the South-esque.
Sounds great. To be honest, you know, it's about time they made a film highlighting the prejudices held by those on the north side of the river. You know, fight the power.
Fight the power, Andy. And then next we've got Dial M for Montrose. It's a crime thriller about an ex-shinty player who finds out his wife has been having an affair with a young produce assistant at the local co-op and plots to have her bumped off.
Directed by Alfred Spatchcock, I believe, yes.
Yep. Also playing will be Montrose Basin Instinct, an erotic thriller where a local police detective gets involved with the main suspect in a brutal murder.
Oh, looks a bit hairy to me.
So you've seen it then? Yep.
Several times. Broke the pause button on my video recorder, to be fair.
Yeah. So they're also hoping to show that movie that tells the tale of that one man on death row with magical healing powers, but set in a small village near here.
What's that one called, Scott?
Udney Green Mile.
Ah, okay.
And then we have on the listings Big Mama's House of Dun, a crime comedy where an undercover policeman dressed as an old fishwifey to protect a female witness who saw a haddock being tickled to death.
Good mix of movies then, Scott. Any others?
Yeah, they've listed quite a few others that they hope to be showing in the next few months. Once Upon a Time in Arbroath.
Freakin' Friday.
Loch Side Story.
Auchin Blade Runner.
North by Northwest Hill.
Gladiatore.
Finding Nemo.
Lawrence of
Arabia?
No, Lawrence of Kemney. And last but not least,
Ochna Gattaca.
They sound awesome. Well, let's have another tune.
I can't wait for that cinema to be open.
It's Scott and Andy between 105 and 107. Unfortunately, that's not a 2-minute time slot.
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. That's not the lyrics, that's the layout of the studio at Mearns FM with Ken and Andy in here. That was obviously from Reservoir Dogs, which I think was a film about Lassie helping a little boy out of a well or something like that. Yeah, great film.
Now, I know it's a Sunday afternoon, Scott.
Yeah.
But I actually have a bit of a confession to make.
Another one? What is it?
Well, you know how this week's theme is all about movies, right?
Yeah.
Well, I saw one of those Blue movies once.
Oh, yeah. What was that like?
Well, it started with 4 young guys, and they're all sitting on stools.
Yeah.
Then they start singing All Rise, All Rise.
You sure that wasn't a music video by the band Blue?
It's the same thing, isn't it?
Oh, Andy, poor deluded boy.
Okay, that was Holding Out for a Hero from the film Footloose by Bonnie Tyler, or Tyler as she's now known.
Right. She's no longer Bonnie. Andy, that's very harsh.
I do apologise.
Of course, that was from the film Footloose, starring Kevin Bacon, the nicest smelling of all the celebrities. He does actually smell of bacon.
Oh, thanks, Ken. I knew someone would laugh at that.
That's a groan, Andy. That's not a laugh. You really have to learn the difference between the two.
An event that only takes place once every 171 years happened on the 20th of April 1993. Any ideas what that was, Scott?
Scotland football team qualified for a major competition?
No.
Your other half didn't have a headache?
No, it's not quite as rare as that, to be fair.
I have no idea then.
Well, Neptune passed... You're right, Scott. Neptune passed Uranus.
I had a bet with Andy that he wouldn't be able to say that line without cracking up. And there we go. So we waited 171 years to tell that
We
joke,
certainly did.
and Andy fluffed it. So well done. Another 171 years. Tune in for the same joke.
Oh dear. Today in 1988, the US Air Force officially unveiled their B-2 stealth bomber.
I heard there was going to be a futuristic stealth fighter in the next Star Wars movie.
Really?
Yeah, it's called the R2B2.
Okay. Today in 2008, Danica Patrick became the first woman to win an IndyCar race.
And she only had to stop and ask for directions twice, apparently.
At least she didn't have to park. But a great win for Danica nonetheless.
I can just hear the emails flooding in.
Dolly Parton's first single, Puppy Love, was released today in 1959.
She's all about the puppies, Dolly Parton, isn't she?
I have no idea what he means. Well, for a text in, and it's from, and I'll stand and salute, Scott. It's from The Godfather and the Lady of the Manor, our chairman, Papa G.
Yes.
He says, I think they say that they're enjoying the show, so I don't know what show they're listening to. So, Scott, I was doing a bit of research this week, and I came across a few movie facts that might interest you.
These didn't come from Stonehaven University by any chance?
No, these were actually from reputable online resources.
Ah, yes, you do an awful lot of online research.
I certainly do.
And clear that browser history. Anyway, continue. Yes.
Well, Sean Connery's opening voiceover for Highlander echoes because it was recorded in a bathroom.
They were obviously happy enough to use it then?
You could say that it came as a relief to Sean.
Or you might not say that. Please, next.
Maybe not. The Munchkins in The Wizard of Oz were paid $50 a week.
That's about 30 quid, so 30 quid more than we get.
Don't get too upset, Scott. Besides, you've not heard the next one yet.
Which is?
Well, you remember Toto from the same movie?
Yeah, Dorothy's four-legged friend.
Yes, well, he was on $125 a week, or at least his owner was.
We are definitely did something wrong.
I think we're all agreed on that one, Scott.
Yeah. I heard they were doing a remake of Silence of the Lambs set in Peterhead.
Really? Yeah.
They're calling it the slightly startled yelp of the lambs.
Okay. Let's move swiftly on, shall we? One last fact for you here, Scott.
Yes.
The first animated film to be nominated for an Oscar for Best Picture was Disney's Beauty and the Beast in 1991.
And renamed The Scott and Andy Show in 2014.
Okay, that was John Parr with St. Elmo's Fire. And we've had lots of people email and texting in saying that was from a film called St. Elmo's Fire.
Really?
Yeah. Believe it or not, yeah, I know.
Who would have thought?
I know. Did you hear that the Muppets are doing a third movie, actually? It's kind of like a follow-up to that. It's
never heard
It's Tickle Me St. Elmo's Fire.
You just come up with that.
Genius, I know.
It's Scott and Andy between 105 and 107. Unfortunately, that's not a 2-minute time slot.